everyone, this is Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to make a visor that is cotton, and I'm also going to show you how to make it completely adjustable for any size. There's two ways that you can do this, and I'll show them to you in our video. Now this is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. What you're going to need to make the adjustable visor is some cotton yarn. You're going to need about 2.5 to 3 ounces. And I really prefer these two brands, Peaches and Cream and Sugar and Cream, because it's a little bit of a stiffer yarn and it helps the brim of the visor stand out better. I'll be using this green and this orange today. Now you can make your visor in 2 colors or 3 colors or as many colors as you want. It's totally up to you what your color choices are. Now I'm using solids. You can use variegated. It doesn't matter. Again, that's your choice. We're going to be using an H hook today, and the H hook is a 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle for weaving in your ends, and you'll need your scissors. And the other thing that you'll need is 2 D-rings. These are size 1.25 or 1.25 inches. You can use D-rings that are from 1 inch to 1.5 inch just fine. You'll need 2 of them. You can purchase D-rings in any of your craft stores that have fabric departments. They're usually found either by the leather goods or over by the fabrics like the buttons. And I got a pack, I think there's 8 in there, for $2.99. And they have all different sizes, but like I said, I prefer the ones for this project that are about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And these are actually 1.25 inches. And so you need 2. And you get a pack of 6 or 8, you can make a couple of visors. We're going to begin with the band portion of our visor. We'll make our slip knot. And then we're going to chain 7. There's our 7 chains. Now we're going to begin stitching in the 4th chain from the hook. We're going to stitch a double crochet. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we stitched in the 4th chain from the hook. The first 3 chains count as our first double crochet, and then we stitched a double crochet. And we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in those next 3. And that will give us 5 double crochets. Now I'm stitching this in double crochets because I want a very open band. There we go, got a little splitty. I want a very open band for my visor because this is a summer visor, and making it out of cotton makes it good for exercise because it will soak up some sweat, and then it's completely washable as well. Alright, so we've got our chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and then we double crocheted in the next 4 because we started in the 4th chain from the hook. So we have 5 double crochets. We're going to chain 3 and turn. Our chain 3 will count as our first double crochet on every row of our visor band. Alright, so we're going to start in the 2nd double crochet, and we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each stitch, and we want each row to have 5 double crochets. Now we're going to stitch in the top of that chain 3 where we started. There we go, and chain 3. And this is the way we'll stitch the band. Chain 3, turn your work, 1 double crochet in each double crochet, and remembering that our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And I want you to notice that it is a very open stitch. Get in there. All right, there's our chain 3. And you'll notice it's open, it's airy, because like I said, it is a cotton summer band for our visor. Now let's talk about size. You're going to need to adjust your size. If you're making it like mine, where I used the D-rings, we're going to need to stitch 45 rows. And the way the pattern works is 3 of these rows equal 2 inches. And you can adjust that according to your head size if you want to by stitching 3 rows of our double crochet per inch. Now the pattern is longer because we're making it adjustable and adding those D-rings. I like making it adjustable, that way it can fit any size head. All right, so I need to stitch 1 double crochet in each double crochet, counting our chain 3 as my first double crochet, and I need to do this for 45 rows. If I'm making the adjustable headband with the D-rings, and if I want to make it fit without the D-rings and just sewing the ends together, then I need to measure my head and do 3 rows per 2 inches. So you have 2 options there on making your headband. And if you're making it for a smaller head, you can do it that way and still do the D-rings. That way it will fit for like maybe a child. And I like making them adjustable because every head is different. And just because you may wear the same size, your head may not be shaped the same. And I'm all about comfort. And also, I want my headband to stay put. I don't want to have to keep pushing it up or pushing it over. All right, so I hope that helps you understand the 2 ways that you can make this visor. But don't worry, I'll still be talking about it and working you through both ways as we go. So, I'm going to be making the headband cotton visor with the D-ring, so I'm going to stitch 45 rows just like these. Chain 3, 1 double crochet in each stitch, so that I have 5 double crochets, chain 3, and turn for 45 rows. I stitched my 45 rows, and on the last row we're not going to chain 3, we're just going to chain 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet evenly down the side of our band, and this is the bottom of it. So we're just going to stitch 1 single crochet evenly down the side. Now when I'm doing this with double crochet stitches, I try to put 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets in each of the double crochet side of the stitches, and I try to put them in the stitch, not the hole. So I'll go right in there, that's top of that stitch, and then I'll go through the bottom of that stitch. When I have double crochet stitches that I'm stitching down the side, I'll try to put 2 single crochets in each of those. It doesn't always work, and sometimes you might have to put it in a hole. And again, try to stitch in the stitches, not the holes. Like there's a big hole here and it'd be easy to put our stitch in there, but what happens is you end up with a great big hole. And yes, it's an open weave and we're going to have a little bit of holes, But for me, it just seems like it works better if I go right in the end of that stitch. I get a much even and more, just a more even look across my band. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to stitch single crochets evenly down the side. I finished stitching my single crochets down the side of my band. We're going to cut our yarn and tie off. And we do have a couple of ends to weave in, but we'll get back to that after a little bit. We completed the row of single crochet edging, and now we're going to turn our work. And on this side, we're going to count back 12 rows of double crochet. And when we get to the top of that 12th row, we're going to join in our yarn. And what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 32 single crochets evenly across. And we need 32 single crochets for the visor portion. Now, if you added or subtracted rows, you're going to need to adjust that so that your 32 single crochets sit right in the center of your visor band. And we're just going to work across and stitch 32 single crochets, centering those 32 single crochets in the center of our band, because this is what we're going to work our visor onto. I stitched 32 single crochets, and I want to check to make sure they're even. And so here's my band. My beginning and ending single crochet are close together, and I've got a nice centered portion for my visor. I'm going to chain one and turn. All right, so now we're going to do just a little bit of shaping. We're going to be doing single crochets, some half double crochets, and then going back to halves and singles. All right, so our chain one does not count as a stitch, so we're going to stitch our first single crochet in the single, and we'll stitch 3 more. So we have 4 single crochets. Now we're going to stitch 4 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is going to give us a gradual height, and then we'll come back down. All right, now we're going to stitch 16 double crochets. And you can see that we started with singles, we went to halves, and now we're at doubles, and we've got a gradual up in height, and then as we stitch across, it'll come right back down. I stitched my 16 double crochets. Now I'm going to stitch 4 half double crochets. And then I'll stitch 1 single in those last 4 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. All right, so now I'm going to change colors before we do the next row. So what we're going to do is we're not going to chain 1 yet. We're going to chain 1 after the color change. So I'm going to go ahead and clip my orange. All right, so I'm going to bring in my green. And when you're changing colors, make sure you do the chain 1 after the color change for nice and neat color change. Snug the orange down, snug the green down, and chain 1. Now this row we're going to be doing some increase stitches for the shaping of our visor. We won't be doing anything different on the single crochets. So we'll go in that first single crochet and then we'll stitch 4 single crochets in the 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. No increases there. Now on the half double crochets, we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in the first, and then we're going to stitch 2 half double crochets in the next. And then we'll repeat that. 1 half double crochet in the next, and 2 half double crochets in the next. And what we did is we increased from 4 half double crochets to 6. And that brings us to our double crochet stitches. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 and 2. 1 double crochet in the next double crochet, and 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And we'll do this across all 16 of those double crochet stitches. One double crochet in the next, and 2 double crochets in the next. And we'll do this across those 16 stitches. So I completed my double crochets 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and now we're to the half double crochets. And we'll do it the same, 1 half double crochet in the first and 2 half double crochets in the next. And then we'll repeat that, 1 half double crochet in the next and 2 in the next. All right, so now we have those last 4 single crochets, and we'll just put a single crochet in each one. Chain 1 and turn. All righty. Now we won't have to do any more increased stitches. We've increased all that we're going to. Now we're just going to do the simple basic stitches. We'll put 1 single crochet in each of the 4 single crochets. Then we'll put 1 half double crochet in each of those 6 half double crochets, because remember we increased from 4 to 6 on the previous row. All right, let me make sure we did that right. 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half double crochets. And now we're going to just place 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across until we reach those half double crochets. I completed all of the double crochet stitches, and now I'm to the half double crochet stitches, and I'll stitch 1 half double crochet in each of the 6 half double crochets. And that brings us to those 4 single crochets, so we'll just stitch 1 single crochet in those 4 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. So what we're going to do for the next 2 rows is stitch it exactly the way we did this row. 4 single crochets, half double crochets, Then we'll do all those double crochet stitches. We'll end with the 6 half doubles and the 4 singles, and we'll do that 2 times. So like I said, we're going to stitch the next 2 rows exactly like we stitched this one. I completed those 2 rows that we did exactly like this row. All 3 are the same. The 4 singles, the 6 half doubles. Then we double crocheted around till we reach those last 6 half doubles and those 4 singles. And that gives us a nice stiff band for our visor. All right, so now I'm going to cut this yarn and tie that off. All right, so we have a few ends that we have to weave in, and we'll do that after a bit. I'm just going to put a little loop knot just to hold that out of the way. Pull that to the back, and at this point you need to decide which is your front and which is your back. It doesn't matter, it's whatever you prefer. I want this to be my front. I like the way that looks and the way that it's laying. Here's our edge where we put on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our green yarn, or whatever color that you want, and we're going to join on this side of the band, and we're going to add that trim on the edge. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet down the side so we get a nice even straight edge. And there really isn't any set number that you have to do. You're just going to single crochet evenly till you reach the visor. So I evenly stitched down the side of the band, and I'm up to where the visor begins. And we're just going to continue with that, stitching single crochets evenly up the side. All right, I'm to that corner, so I'm going to add an additional single crochet right in that corner, and that's just going to help it kind of move around that corner nice and evenly. And then across the front of the band, or the visor I should say, we are going to just place 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. And at this point I would stitch these stitches just a little tighter than we usually do, and that's going to help with the shaping of the visor. It's going to pull it in a little and help it hold the shape that we need to keep the sun out of our eyes. And so we'll just single crochet across the front of the visor, stitching 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across. So I stitched across the front of that visor. I pulled it in just a little bit to help with shaping. And now I'm going to go down the side of the visor, and again I'm going to put a 2nd single crochet right in that corner just to help it move around smoothly. And then I'm working down the side of the visor. Whoops. Don't want to pull those ends that I need to weave in into the wrong color, as it will show through. Alrighty, one right in that corner. And now I'm just going to work my way back down this other side of the visor band. And when I finish the side of this visor, I'll show you how to add those D-rings, or I'll show you how to stitch it together, whichever way you prefer to make your visor. I finished up this other side with single crochets, and I'm going to cut my yarn, but I'm going to leave a long amount because I'm going to use this to sew on the D-rings. Now, if you don't want to use the D-rings, you can put your two ends together and just single crochet them closed. There we go. It got a little stringy again. Just by single crocheting across both the straps, and then you'll have your sides sewn together. But I really prefer using the D-rings because I like that it is adjustable. And so I'm going to go ahead and tie that off. I'm going to take my two D-rings, put the yarn through, and then we're going to feed the end of our visor through, and then we're going to wrap it over. Now, this is the front, so I want to wrap it to the back. And we're just going to fold that over, and we'll thread this end on our needle. Now we'll take that needle, and what I do is I go over to the side and I make a couple of stitches going through both thicknesses, and then I stitch across with my needle, stitching it closed with nice whip stitches. And if you would prefer to change to the orange yarn or whatever other yarn you're using, that's totally fine. I don't mind that it shows through a little bit since I'm using both colors. Alright, and then when I get to the other end, I like to do some more whip stitches. That's where the majority of the wear is going to be, so I want to make sure that's nice and tight. And then I just go back through where I just sewed and make more stitches going across. Just like that. And I might make a couple more whip stitches on this end and then just weave that in back and forth until I am happy and confident that my stitches are not going to come out. Alrighty, so I'm going to clip that. Alright, so what you do then is you just stick it on your head. You weave this through these two. There we go. Let's see. I'll make sure we got this right. There we go. This is the back, so let's turn it over. We're going to weave this through both of the D-rings. Then we'll open those D-rings and weave it through between. And that's how we make the band adjustable. So you can either sew it together or you can make it adjustable like this one. So the cotton adjustable visor is a lot of fun to make. You can embellish it, buttons, ribbons, bows, whatever you want to. It's fun to make them to match all your outfits, but it's also very useful for summer vacation.